Hi everyone, and welcome to the second development AMA on our YouTube channel. I'm Timothea and I'm CMO of Orion Protocol, and it's been an intensely busy couple of weeks as we launched the first Orion Solarflare with Victoria VR to a massive 2,000% oversubscription before we closed early, seeing almost 130,000 ORN committed with a market value of around $1 million. Depositless trading, which led to a new terminal volume all-time high of 82 million in a day. And we also unveiled a series of strategies for ORN supply reduction. So on top of this, we have a lot more coming up that we're going to be discussing today. So part of this initiative is really not just to address questions and key topics of discussion, but also to give you the chance to meet more of our development team. So as of today, we have 41 developers in our core team and a number of contractors as well working on specialist areas like USDO and NFT aggregator. And these guys and girls are the ones working tirelessly in the background to drive Orion forward. So I'm really pleased and grateful to have Alexander Craze with us, who is the lead developer on our front-end team. And together we're going to be addressing a few key areas based on your questions, including Orion Solarflare, ORN supply reduction, Fiat on off-ramp, new chains, B2B solutions, Orion Bridge, our organizational structure, our vesting schedule, liquidity sources, B2B solutions, and staking lockups. So we have a ton of questions to get through, and we'll publish the full transcript on our blog, and we'll link it below after this is live. But before I delve into the questions with Alexander, I'd like to touch on the topic of the week, Orion Solarflare, as there have been so many questions either submitted or in our community around this. So I'll just kind of bucket the key ones into one answer. So for anyone who's been MIA this week, Orion Solarflare is our latest solution to add further utility to our ORN token, essentially unlocking guaranteed IDO access via ORN, while also reducing supply through a commitment to remove every committed ORN from circulation, which we'll touch on this a little bit later. Solarflare was really built to enable guaranteed and democratic access to IDOs via ORN, without minimums, without maximums, without lockups, KYC accounts, or pool caps. And while IDO platforms typically have some limitations, either lottery tickets or requiring staking to receive access, we wanted to build a decentralized launch solution where the entire community can access regardless of funds, and they themselves determine the value of projects. So undoubtedly, I think the numbers for this last one speak for themselves, and I think we can all agree this was a huge success from demand to performance. 125k ORN was committed, over 800 users participated, and the performance of Victoria VR itself has been incredible to watch, and there's also a lot more to come between us and Victoria VR. But of course, with every new solution, there is room for improvement, and we are always looking to the community for feedback on ways to optimize and improve for the future. So firstly, there was some confusion around the dynamic nature of the allocation ratio, as well as the need for claiming. So we'll ensure that the entire process is as clearly communicated as possible for the next Solarflare this month. And we're also working to optimize the process itself and host it in its entirety on the Orion terminal. And secondly, while this initiative has brought a lot of newcomers to the Orion community, which we're incredibly grateful for and love having you here, we want to reward our existing community members and our long-term holders. So our focus is to increase the allocation ratio for stakers. So we're going to share more on this ahead of the next one. And finally, we've seen just how much appetite and demand there is for Solarflare. So we are working to ensure higher allocation budgets for the community for our next IDOs. I think having this first IDO as a case study is really critical in us being able to capture more allocation from projects. So we have a number coming up, and we are pushing for higher allocation budgets as well for the community. As well as that, we're also working with a number of projects launching on BSC instead of ETH to navigate the insanely high gas fees. So there's plenty more optimization of Solarflare in the works, which we're going to share ahead of the next IDO. And we really do welcome your feedback in the meantime. And so for anyone who did miss out, there's plenty more coming. And we also have a partnership with a major launchpad to be announced next week in order to funnel their top IDOs to Solarflare. So enough on Solarflare for now, perhaps, as while it has been a big focus for this week, there's so much more work being done on our core proposition. So, let's touch on some of that with Alexander. So firstly, Alexander, thank you so much for being here. Really glad to have you on the show to have you talk to the community. So let's just jump in. The first question that we have is around different chains. So how far along are you in the progress of integrating other major chains besides Ethereum and BSC?
Our priority right now is integrating the Phantom blockchain, which is underway, and we made significant progress on there are other chains in the works too, but we primarily focusing on the chains that will bring the most value to us as a business. But to Creative Phantom, we can not only bring new assets, users, and sources of liquidity to the terminal, but you can release the wallet swap. Wallet swap SDK within the Phantom wallet to drive volume beyond the terminal itself. However, before releasing new chains, I want to release Orion Bridge. Releasing Orion Bridge ahead of new chains will better optimize the trading experience and subsequent change to seamless cross-chain trading with the first really decentralized peer-to-peer atomic swap bridge.
Amazing. So it's great to hear that you're making serious headway with the Phantom integration. As you said, while we have a number of upcoming chains, that one will bring not only assets and users to the terminal, as well as insanely low transaction fees and high speeds, but will also enable us to launch our first B2B solution to drive volume to the protocol. And as you said, we're launching the bridge first, which makes sense to ensure we can enable cross-chain trading across upcoming chains like Phantom. So this leads on to my next question, which is, how is the bridge coming along, and any idea when this will be live?
We're very close to completion. The backend is done. We're currently optimizing the UI, and we'll soon be launching the bridge and testnet staging for our VIPs, VIP users ahead of public deployment. This will follow the release of our single network trading view, where users will see all available assets cross-change in one view without the need to switch and reconnect their wallet each time. We integrated this functionality already. Currently, MetaMask wallet isn't disconnected to when you change network in app. If you change network in MetaMask app, network change too. No more painful disconnects. The single network trading view followed by the bridge will make it truly seamless cross-chain experience. We're even expanding the capabilities of the bridge itself, creating our own peg tokens for more effective trading across different chains beyond Ethereum, plus Binance Smart Chain. While our primary focus was to enable essentially zero-fee trading on Ethereum, we're taking this further to build a chain agnostic bridge, while also identifying ways to further monetize the bridge from a B2B perspective.
That's amazing to hear that we're that close to completion. I really think this will be a game changer. And I look forward to us deploying this to our VIP users for testing ahead of public deployment. So ahead of then, quite a few of our community members would probably like to understand just how the bridge will work. While we will have documentation coming out that will be shared closer to launch, could you explain step by step how this works, and also touch on the next question, which is, my question is about how your bridge works. For example, I would like to better understand how it will technically be possible to pay for ETH transactions at a lower cost. Are your partnerships with centralized exchanges considered for this functionality? Would the transaction go directly from the user to the broker internally?
Yes, our brokers are at the core of this P2P network. First step is Alice wants to send 10,000 USDT from Ethereum to Binance Smart Chain. Second step is Alice sends a request to Orion in Ethereum network, like she places a regular order, but with a different UI screen for now. Aggregator confirms that Alice can place the order. Next step is Alice makes a special transaction on Ethereum, locking her 10,000 USDT on Orion Exchange contract. Next step, aggregator choosing a broker for Alice who can swap 10,000 USDT between change. After that, broker makes a counter order in Binance Smart Chain and sends it to Alice through aggregator. Broker's order is made of chain. This is important. Next step, Alice redeems broker's money in Binance Smart Chain network. After that, brokers can now broker can now receive Alice money in the Ethereum network, and finally, swap is finished. So, in a few simple steps, almost all of them are run automatically. Alice receives 10,000 USDT on Binance Smart Chain, excluding fee. Like other bridges, users don't lose ownership of their tokens until they receive corresponding tokens on the other network. So no stack funds like other bridges. This is why we have kept the deposit functionality in general with the launch of depositless trading. Soon we will launch Atomic Swap Bridge between Ethereum and the Binance Chain networks, which allows users to trade on the Orion platform with high-speed and cheap network speeds using only their ERC ERC 20 token. This first innovation will enable, for the first time, practical zero-fee trading on the Ethereum network.
Amazing. As we said, we will be sharing more documentation outlining how this works, the process. But as you said, a lot of these steps are automatic and therefore will feel seamless and invisible to the end user. So a question on how else we can use the Atomic Swap Bridge. Will the Atomic Swap work within the terminal with staked ORN?
Going forward, we want to move all transactions, settlements to cheap network in a way that remains transparent to users, removing the boundaries between blockchains. We plan to utilize atomic swaps across our pools to reduce fee for stakers. Although they may not necessarily be in place in the first integration, there's a lot of utility for the atomic swap bridge. Plenty haven't even communicated yet.
Yeah, from internal discussions, I'm pretty excited about the scale of this bridge, even beyond what we've communicated. And I think reducing fees, not only for trading, but staking on ETH is a great addition to, as you said, may not necessarily be in the first iteration of the bridge, but I'm really excited for all of the different use cases for the bridge, even beyond this. So let's move on to another key area, of course, that we are frequently asked about is liquidity sources. So you've said you're integrating other liquidity sources. When are these coming?
There are several centralized exchanges currently in the process of onboarding, one in particular in final stage. However, we ideally want to release a bridge ahead of the integration of additional liquidity sources. As those brokers are key elements of Orion Bridge, we want to test and ensure the P2P brokers network is fully operational, so we can effectively onboard them into the bridge ahead of launch of ensure. Our bridge is robust as possible. let's say it, with a bridge planned to believe this month. Additional liquidity sources, BUS, CEX, and GEX will be added very shortly.
So I will add to this that these are lengthy processes, and this is why they take time. We have to remember that this is completely new technology, and centralized exchanges, of course, have to do a lot of due diligence to make sure that we're in line with their legal and regulatory requirements. So the amount of development resources and hours from both sides is significant. But as Alexander said, we're in final stages with one broker, with others in the onboarding pipeline as well. So let's move on to the next question. Are there any plans to develop mechanisms for protocol-owned liquidity like Olympus DAO? Any plans to transform the protocol into the DAO? So I'll take this one. On the latter part of that question, this is indeed our current focus. So we want to slowly migrate towards becoming a decentralized autonomous organization, or a DAO. For this is an important move for several reasons. One, future-proofing in the face of potential future regulatory changes, as well as the fact that we exist in the DeFi space, and naturally we want to put the power and control in the hands of our community. So this month we're going to be releasing more details on our first step towards this, including governance voting on a number of different areas, which will include the removal of ORN from circulation. So I believe that leads nicely on to the next question is, can you explain what's happened to the ORN committed to the Solarflare and staking lockups? Are you already removing tokens from circulation?
The removal of Orion from circulation will happen quarterly. We plan to have the big payment around these removals. With the first planned for the end of the year. We're updating the dashboard for users to track how much Orion will be removed.
Great, yeah, I'm looking forward to the big explosive event removing ORN from circulation. So part of the ORN being removed from circulation will be committed from trading fees, licensing fees, and staking lockups, as well as Solarflare. So let's touch on the staking lockups. The question that we have is, it was said that staking lockups would be live in December. When will this be live? Will you give us notice? And also, what happened to the 1/3 pool fees for governance stakers?
The plan was for staking locks up to be live at the beginning of December, yes. However, we want to ensure we don't have to make significant changes post-launch. So we're taking on analyzing feedback from the community since our announcement in order to make sure we get the mechanics of this right for all. We don't want to disincentivize staking, and we want to ensure we have the right ratio of locks up and lock fees and rewards. Once we have analyzed this, we will announce and give the community notice to unstake if they wish to do so. For the 1/3 pool fees, we're looking at distributing this SAP. There have just been a number of technical challenges in doing so because of smart contract. However, this will be distributed.
As we've always said, we do listen to and take on community feedback across different areas. So we have had feedback around staking lockups, as Alexander said, and we don't want to disincentivize staking. And critically, we want to ensure that we have that right ratio of lockup, unlock fee, and rewards. So we're working on the model, and we will give the community ample notice to unstake if need be before this is live. So another question that we are seeing more frequently is, when will you share more details on the vesting schedule beyond December 16th? So I'll touch on this one again. So this will be shared in the next week or so and will include foundation unlocks, marketing unlocks, which I'm very excited and grateful for, team unlocks, and everything else. And I will say that these are really healthy unlock schedules. They're drawn out over a fair amount of time without any big unlocks, because we'll be using the same mechanism for the private sales. So moving on to the next question, what other things have you been working on that haven't yet been announced?
There are a lot going on in the back and continuously optimize. We have silently deployed version 2 of our aggregator with improved swap algorithm, reworked APIs, faster order status, and improved order book feed. I've also been working on the SDK based on community in partner feedback, so we can deploy SDK version 2 and launch our B2B solutions. We're also working on arbitrage order books to take advantage of multi-leg arbitrage opportunities. There are other areas in the books too that we haven't necessarily spoken about in a while, including Q's, DO, and our NFT aggregator. As we get closer to launch, we'll share more details on this.
So another big thing for us at the moment coming up is when will the Fiat on-ramp be live?
The integration is done and we're ready to go. We're excited for this and plan to launch this ASAP with a zero-fee campaign.
I'm sure the community will be pleased to hear the integration is done, and this is currently being coordinated around other campaigns and announcements, and a zero-fee campaign is never going to be badly received. So on to our final question, which is quite an interesting one. Why does Orion Protocol not develop its own blockchain? With Launchpad, DEX, etc., it will be massive.
There are a lot to achieve before we get to that point, including the bridge, adding new liquidity sources and pairs, launching B2B solutions, launching the Orion app, our NFT aggregator, but it has been something in discussion.
That is an interesting one. So as we've covered today, a lot has been done. There's still a lot more to do. We've got a lot coming up in no particular order. More solar flares, supply reduction, Fiat on-ramp, Orion Bridge, new liquidity sources, Orion app, new chains, and of course our rebrand, which I will say is looking awesome. There's a lot not mentioned in detail here today as we focused on your submitted questions. So if you want a question asked or a topic covered, make sure you submit your question. It's very simple and it's always at the bottom of our Dev AMA blog posts. So I look forward to your next questions and look forward to your questions in the Telegram chat as well, and look forward to an exciting month ahead. So in the meantime, make sure that you don't forget there's a depositless trading competition running until December 15th. So all you have to do is trade depositless directly from your wallet in order to be entered to win up to 10K worth of ORN, new rebrand Orion merch, which is looking great, and some new exclusive Orion NFTs. So more trades, more entries, it's that simple, and we'll link more details below. So that's it from us today. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we will see you soon.